I am not trying to like dissect the Muppets in the background.
Oh, I did a lot. I expected
no,
you.
I
I expected you were.
No, I don't. I don't want to be critical of it. I don't want to point out all the stupid things. I'm not jokey with it.
Okay.
Which is why I don't have a lot of things to talk about.
All right. Are we calling this a thing? Randy, are we calling this a thing? What are we calling it? Sure. Hey, everybody. I'm Poncho, and this is John.
Oh,
All right, we're going to talk about Babylon 5. Specifically the first 7 episodes-ish.
okay.
Yeah. Cool. So what do you want, John?
So, we've watched the first third of the first season, and I kind of want to preface this by saying why we're just watching Babylon 5. When Babylon 5 came out, it was very dumb. It looked terrible.
And I was a wee baby.
Yeah, the acting was bad. Lots of people tried to get me to watch it, and I didn't because the acting was bad and it looked terrible. But now I've actually sat down. I've watched it again. The acting doesn't seem as bad. The visuals don't seem as bad. So far, I've been able to appreciate what I've seen so far.
Yeah, I appreciate the content, I think, more than the actual visuals and stuff. Like, there were a couple episodes that we watched. We're watching on, like, the DVD release, which I guess is kind of a muffed up. But there was a couple of scenes in one of the episodes where whenever they tried to rotoscope effects on there, like, all of a sudden the image quality got just garbage. And even still, there was, like, almost like cuts in the frame missing.
So I've been streaming it, and I don't know if it looks as bad. What I will say is, like, it's a 26-year-old show. It looks better than a lot of other 26-year-old shows. The only thing that I'm running into is, like, it looks like they did really low quality video transfers, but they had the original digital stuff. So, like, anytime that they flash to, like, one of the fighters or the outside of the ship or one of those shots, it has the same effect of taking me out of, like, the immersion of the show that a commercial does.
Okay.
Because, like, I'm looking at dim, 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 and then all of a sudden it's, like, super bright. And then dim, 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 and then super bright.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the aliens look better than a lot of things that I see as long as they're not moving. When they move...
Even sometimes when they move.
Yeah. I mean, but, like, when they move, when they try to talk, it's weird. And it's kind of funny how, like, it looks like they picked, like, the best stuff from, like, a costume shop. Right? And put it in the background.
How did you like the bug guy, the black market bug guy?
So, I don't like him. And I don't like him because I find the way that he moves very distracting. Like, he wiggles just too much. I've seen praying mantises before, and they hold still forever.
Yeah, but those are praying mantises. Like, things eat those. This guy's not going to get eaten. He's the big dog.
Yeah, but he's wiggling, like, way too much.
Maybe he has to go pee.
But other than that, like, it's kind of cool. It's kind of an interesting character. I do like that, like, every now and then they'll have, like, an alien and they'll just put, like, one of those, like, dumb hats like that you're wearing on him.
Yeah, there was one that looked like a Goomba in a fez.
Yeah. Like, there was one where they put, like, a bolo tie on an alien in the background. Like, they like, it just seems like they have these weird aliens and they're like, cool, let's give him a odd accessory.
Yeah. This is how we really flesh out the character of this particular guy, by making him wear stupid shit. I watched episode 3, which is the episode where like the mysterious gold channel, and, like, we learn more about the Russian chick. And after that, I had to stop for 2 days.
Yeah.
It was just it was just tough. It was really tough.
So I dug that episode. I mean, I haven't seen any episode yet that I thought was bad. That episode was cool. That's the one where Londo has a dancer.
Yeah, Londo gets a girlfriend.
So, like, the kind of story for there was dumb. but like it's kind of cool showing Londo's kind of a softie actually.
Yeah, the weird thing about that though is then like 2 or 3 episodes later, they have these 2 lovebirds on there, and I guess in the Centauri culture they're all arranged marriages, and Londo was just completely flabbergasted that anybody would want to marry for love, or like that love exists and all this stuff. I'm like, but just it's like 2 weeks ago you were the most infatuated creature on the station.
No, I don't think he was flabbergasted. I think it's just showing like he's so far down into like duty and appearances, like he's just practical.
Yeah, but that girl was like a dancer. She wasn't.
Yeah,
she wasn't.
Yeah, that
like
was
like a high-end girl. She was like a.
That was kind of weird too. Like that happened so quickly.
Yeah,
like,
and she was like, "You really want to be seen with me? I'm just a lowly lower caste." She's like, "I don't care. I love you."
Yeah, like
but then like 2 weeks later, it's like love doesn't exist.
So.
Yeah, that was silly.
But he did get burned by her.
Yeah, but like he wasn't super burned by her. Like he got burned by her, but he was like a no hard feelings. He have this ancient heirloom.
She double crossed him, almost cost him his career.
But he still gave her like a cherished family heirloom.
Sure.
And it was like, hey, if you ever want to come back here, like it'd be my baby, like go for it.
Yeah.
Come on down. But then again, I think in the episode it's talking about how Londo had, I don't know if they have polygamy, but he had 3 wives, and he hated all of them. So presumably, perhaps in a society where arranged marriages exist, then monogamy, at least behind closed doors, isn't 100% practiced, especially because the religious ceremony, the celebration of life, was just like a Roman Caligula.
I mean, between episode 3 and I think it was 5 or 6.
Yep.
He just kind of shows that he's a soft dude actually, which is kind of cool. That's kind of what all of these episodes have been. Like they've basically been. So, like, I think when you take the commercials out, which obviously the streaming and DVD does, I think you have like 43 minutes of episode. All right, so it looks like there is 12 minutes or so of like, cool, I'm learning about the character in the station, and then there's like half an hour of like random adventure of the week.
Yeah, I still feel even though we're a third of the way, and I think we're still in exposition. Like they might suffer from just having too many characters.
Maybe, but like
because you have to. Hey, we want to talk about Londo this time, but yeah, we got that commander and Budget Bruce Willis over there, and they got to do stuff in the A plot.
Yeah. So at this point, the only inkling that there's a larger plot is the introduction to the show.
It was the dawn of the third age of mankind, 10 years after the Earth-Minbari War. The Babylon Project was a dream given form.
Like there has been no story that has been started. Like we have gotten some conflict going, like just the beginning. Like we just finding out who's liking each other or not liking each other, but there's not a story to have been told yet.
I disagree. I think that there was a lot of time spent, especially in like 4 through 7, a lot of time spent on showing how much humans aren't super keen at this whole this whole alien UN thing.
That's not a story.
No, but it is pretty much the one thing that's appeared in almost every episode.
But that's not a story.
No, it's the beginning of the story. I mean, it. First of all, we're only a third of the way of the season.
I know,
so we don't know. But this could very well be, hey, humans aren't really super keen on that UN, and so season 1 finale is like, hey, a human revolt happens or something like that.
Like, here's the thing, right? No one is keen on the UN in this station. No one who gets a real part. The bit players apparently are fine. The weird aliens are fine hanging out in the background.
Yeah, the Party City section.
But everyone who gets to talk, they're not keen on the UN.
No, but it's not the same. There's not random what are they? Random Centauri guys going around like assaulting humans that they spent a lot of time showing.
No, I think the only difference is that everyone else hates only one other race. Humans hate everybody. Like that's
Well, I mean, there's 4 races involved, so
sure.
the Landos and the Jakars, they aren't super keen on each other. The Mumbadi, whatever they're called, are just like, hey, y'all.
And it's not even like the humans. Like, it doesn't even seem like humans are actually that bad. Like, it just seems like there's a racist section.
But it's a growing racist section.
Doesn't seem like it's growing, actually.
No, they have a name for their group, and it's growing.
Sure.
They're talking about it in the last episode. They're like, yeah, once we assassinate these guys here, and that gets in the news, that tells everybody back Earth to assassinate those guys. That shows machinations.
Yeah, that's like 8 guys.
That's way more than 8 guys.
No, there's like 8 guys on the station. Like, I don't think that's as big of a thing. I think that was, like, again, when we watch more, we can find out. But that feels like to me like it's just filler plot. Like it's showing.
It showed up all the time. It
showed up all the time in one episode.
No, it showed up all the time in like 3 episodes. No. So, because I wrote all this shit down. All right. So it showed up in Infection because they're talking about bioweapons and protecting humanity against stuff. It showed up in Parliament of Dreams, which was this one. Might not showed up in that one. Mind Wars showed up because Chekhov was there, or Walter Koenig was there, and it was talking about how the Psi Corps are trying to control not just Earth's economy and stuff like that. They want to go on and control other alien stuff and control all that shit.
Okay.
Right? And it showed up in War Prayer because they're like, it was the entire thing was about the like some far right. They even said Earth first. Their slogan was Earth first.
Yeah. It's not part of the plot. It's just showing that humans are dicks.
I guess. I don't know. I would not be surprised if during the latter portion of this season that all of a sudden it becomes a real problem.
I know. I don't see that happening at all.
We'll see.
Especially so like another cool thing, right? I've been watching this with headsets on.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're watching things through the TV speaker, and like when they're in diners and when they're in things like that, like all you're hearing is background noises, right? You're hearing like diner stuff. When you have it with the headset, like you can hear the conversations that they're having.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like dudes talking about chicks.
Like really talking about chicks?
Yeah. It's like dudes talking about extra shifts, why their jobs are bad. Like it's legit. It's legit
actual conversation between actors or legit conversation on the
no like character conversations, but like it's not just noise. Like it's just
it's not wada.
This is not a crazy tense like aside from the ambassadors are there. Like this is a business as usual place. Like it's not everyone there doesn't have skin in the game. There's people who are just like selling cookies at the cookie store.
Yeah, that the episode with Chekhov in it, the Mind War, where they just like they evacuated a whole, it might have been that one, where they evacuated like a whole section and people are there like with their stands and stuff. Like, God damn it, not again.
So here's another thing that's weird. Like it's a sign of the times thing. It's like when this came out, it was right before camera phones were everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And everyone was used to being surveilled. Because, like, when I'm thinking about it, like, I'm trying to put it in the context of, like, what a modern space station would look like. And you know every corridor would have a camera.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of the things that happen would just be like, all right, show me the tape from this sector. But,
it's true. And, like, when that one guy got jumped by aliens.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, the only reason we found out was because we were tailing him. Like, really?
So yeah,
it might just be too big to have that many cameras, but I guess
I don't think it would be.
In the name of security, they would put it like it just becomes a giant airport at some point, doesn't it?
Yeah, but like
or a cruise ship,
like the way you know those places have cameras all over the place. They just look at them when they need them.
I suppose.
So like that's just like kind of a weird sign of the times. Something I did notice that's kind of cool. This came out in 94,
95, I think. Yeah.
This is the first show that I have seen that has an accurate representation of a flat screen monitor. Like there's a scene. This is a weird thing they picked up in the background. There's a scene where
Garibaldi's back there. On the
no,
screen?
like the captain is talking like he's dictating to a computer, right? And like on the desk looks like one of the early
Flat screens.
flat screen computers. Like that made me giggle a little bit.
It's pretty cute.
Because like everything else in the control room and everything else is obviously a CRT. But he had like his first Dell Inspiron thing. But yeah, so like I there's no story that I can see to talk about. Like so far we've learned Londo's kind of soft. The doctor's kind of naive, but optimistic.
And saucy. He can get saucy.
Yeah. Garibaldi isn't as much of a dick as he seems. Like he seems really intuitive.
Yeah, he doesn't seem as dumb. Well, I guess he's not as dumb as he seems.
I never thought he seemed dumb. He didn't seem particularly decent, good, maybe. And
No,
like
he appears to be willing to engage in intrigue.
yeah,
Yeah.
Psycops.
Mhm.
Psycops. Those guys are dicks.
Super dicks. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see them being trouble later on.
Well, yeah. I don't think you cast Walter Koenig as a secondary character and just leave him in the rafters for very long. And also, like, a commander, the commander totally got pulled one over on him. So that guy doesn't really seem like somebody who likes to get his shit pushed in.
One of the things that I really, really like that they've introduced, like I like the concept of the soul hunters a lot.
Okay.
That's a pretty neat thing that I don't think I've seen portrayed like that before. Dudes look kind of weird.
Super weird.
You got to giggle out of seeing Danica McKellar with a bald wig on.
Which one was Danica McKellar?
That was the
Lando's dancer?
no, that was the noble girl.
Oh, okay.
I had to do like a double take because like she doesn't appear on the guest starring credits. She appears at the end credits.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I was like, was that Danica McKellar? Because that would be appropriate. Like that was ran at the Wonder Years.
Yeah, that is the Wonder Years girl. I thought that was the Wonder Years girl.
Bam! Just like that. That's all there is to it, Dustin. That's all there is to it. A winner!
Because I think shortly, not too many years after that, she was in the West Wing. But she looked older.
I don't think it was shortly after that.
I suppose not. I suppose not. Yeah, you're right. It was.
In '94, she was probably maybe 15.
Try not to sing out of key. Yeah. Oh, baby, how
I can't think of anything. Again, there hasn't been story. We've learned about some characters.
So like I'm critical, and when it comes to future stuff or space stuff or time stuff, I like to try to find the slip ups when it comes to references. So like when aliens start referencing Earth stuff without classifying it as Earth stuff. Like if you're from planet Mars, you're tuned to Martian hours, not Earth hours. And unless if you're communicating and you're both from Mars and you say hours, if you're both Martian, chances are you're both going to immediately think Martian hours over Earth hours. But Babylon 5 has been pretty good at having the people who would need to mark that effectively. It seems like it's well written when it comes to that.
So I have decided not to consider any of that because there's just too many things that will go wrong when you start looking at that. Like everyone speaking English, no one having an accent.
I mean,
everyone speaking English fluently.
Yeah.
And different people from different alien races have different accents.
Yeah. I don't know.
So that's one of those things where it's just, again, I don't know. It doesn't. I'm not finding any of that distracting.
One thing I did notice that I really, really liked is at the end of the infection episode, they take some time away to talk about PTSD. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
At the end, when the commander's like sitting and drinking and like recovering from his wounds, Garibaldi comes in and goes, hey, dude, look, I know you're commanding officer, but
Yeah.
my friend longer. Like, are you cool? Like,
Yeah.
war sucks. And I don't think anybody was talking about PTSD really in 1994, especially not in like a sci-fi. Like, I don't think Star
No,
Trek would bring that up.
That's true. They wouldn't have.
Yeah. So I thought that was really a particularly interesting thing. I actually got really excited when I saw they were talking about that. Although I did really enjoy in the other episodes watching everybody's religions.
That was weird. That was kind of funny.
So I like how the Centauri their thing was like a big like debaucherous reception.
Yeah.
And it kind of went with the fact that his robes are all purple. I thought that was kind of an interesting tie-in. We didn't get to see whatever the Jakar guys were.
You know what's kind of really weird about Londo actually is how it's hard to get a beat on Centauri culture because like he's super party guy when he's not business.
Yeah.
But like any time that he's not partying, like he's all business. Like
He's super serial.
like yeah.
Yeah.
And like his assistant, the other dopey dude.
Yeah.
Like he didn't do anything. Oh, something that bothered me. Like when he was I don't know why this is a thing. Why can't people on TV legit play video games?
So I thought the video game that he had was one of those like Tiger Electronic, like LCD screen games, and like he was going to town on that thing. I was like, Jesus Christ, you got 3 pictures that you can see on there. What are you going to town on it for?
So like when he was going through there, like he was like having seizures. Like he was just mashing buttons, but like he was also wiggling things. Like there's no game that you play that's portable.
Well, I mean, immediately, maybe there is in the 23rd century, but he's also, like we've said before, that the show is kind of like a big stage play.
Yeah.
So he's just overacting as you would.
So
the one thing I didn't like in Parliament of Dreams, though, so you saw the debaucherous, kind of almost Romanesque Centauri ceremony. The Mumbani, whatever they are, had like this really spiritual, like eat the orgasmic jelly bean ceremony. And then when it came time for humans, like it was the topic was the dominant religion in your
not the dominant religion, the dominant practices.
You're right, but so I felt like it was kind of a cop out. The commander went out there with a practitioner of every religion on Earth at the time, and it looked great. And I mean, it ties in with one of the show's themes, which is like, hey, we're all in this together, even though we look different and all this stuff. Like that was fine. I just felt from the perspective of the other ambassadors, it either painted the planets of the other ambassadors as kind of one party or one dimensional in that this is that, or it was a cop out on the commander's part for just being like, look, we don't have any dominant practices, we have all sorts of practices because we're not a homogenous society like y'all.
So I don't think that's what it was at all. So one of the things, and this is kind of prevalent in like almost all sci-fi things. So other alien races only have one flavor. All the Centauri so far look the same. All the Narn look the same. All the other things, the praying mantis dudes, assuming it's following this trope, they all are just a bunch of praying mantises. The girl praying mantises will look a little different. They'll probably wear a different hat, but they'll be the same. Where humans, like there's blacks, there's Asians, there's all kinds of things living on the same planet. And it's kind of cool where they're showing, generally humans are pretty shitty, like super violent. We're always blowing up shit. But when he decided what the dominant practice was, it's tolerance. It's diversity. So like he was bringing all those things. And then it's super cool that a few episodes later, we're a super racist group.
Yeah. I don't know.
It didn't seem like a cop-out at all to me.
I just felt like it painted the other races as one-dimensional when I figured that would be... Like, granted, they're aliens, so you can't create a human-sized culture for a television show, especially in 3 episodes, but
nothing so far has shown that there's any sort of other divisions in, like, any of the alien races.
I know.
Like, everyone has looked the same. Everyone acts the same.
I know.
There's not even really arguing.
I know, it's really weird, isn't it?
So there's nothing to show that, and that's kind of showing what humans do.
One last thing I did notice in the War Prayer episode all the bad guys, the bad humans, were all Australians.
Okay.
They all had Australian accents.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah. Her boyfriend was Australian, and all the people in the funny hoods were all like, "Oi, oi, oi!" Or however they said it.
I still don't like Kosh. I can get over like everyone's appearance.
Yeah.
Except for Kosh. Like everyone looks like they're trying to make a creature, and Kosh still just looks like a pile of like sporting goods to me. Like he looks like the silhouette of like a golf bag with maybe a parka on it and a hockey stick and a lacrosse stick. Like all that stuff is just leaning in the corner, and that's Kosh.
Well, yeah. No, I completely agree. Even though he said words this time, I guess, and they just had like a viewer in the background, like, oh yeah, by the way, this is, since everybody else talks and interacts, this is his character. He's sneaking information on Earth and shit. But like, yeah, that was in War Prayer as well, and it seemed like War Prayer was also designed to be like a tie into the pilot, because they talked about all the characters that were in the pilot film, pilot feature that didn't make it to the actual show, and they're like, oh yeah, that person, that doctor, yeah, he was so good. Since he looked at Kosh, he got sent to Earth to go check this shit out. And that girl, well, she got upgraded, and
it had nothing to do with bad acting or saying methane.
High level of methane.
Yeah,
but again, overall, I'm pretty happy with where the show's going. I'm looking forward to watching more. I really hope that like there's some story soon.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best not to like read and skip ahead. There obviously has to be some story, because this is such a beloved show by so many sci-fi fans. There has to be something to it going through, and I can feel it building. It's just building slow, and the stuff that they're doing, like, it really is like 12 minutes of
there's too many plots. You C&D plots in there. It just feels like there's too many characters they got to cover.
It's not that there's too many plots. It's just all superfluous plots. Yeah. Like it's it's a whole episode of weird looking soul hunter dudes running around so that we could find out that the captain, whose name I can't ever remember, Sinclair.
Commander Sinclair.
Yeah, the commander is fated for something better, and that what's the other race? The chick.
The chick. Oh, the Mumbani or whatever.
Yeah. That she's super important.
All right, cool.
You have anything else to add?
Huh?
If you want to comment on what we've seen so far, go ahead. Try not to spoil too much for us,
or we'll fight you.
Yeah,
we will physically fight you.
But
or follow along at home, because it's currently, as of this date, as of filming, it's streaming on Amazon Prime, right?
It is.
So, and because it's probably kind of difficult to find otherwise, unless you go to like a pawn shop. So watch Amazon Prime, and Amazon Prime, please give us money.
So cool.
All right.
No one here is entirely what they appear.